Today on NerdOut, Strike Finance. Welcome back to NerdOut, the show where we take a look at Cardano, we break it down, but we don't dumb it down. Today we're going to be talking to one of the developers at Strike Finance, Sean Yu. So let's invite him up to the stage. Welcome, Sean.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited to come on here and talk about Strike.
Yeah, no, Strike is one of the hottest things going on Cardano right now. So it's been a little bit of a long time coming. I've wanted to get you on the show for a while to talk about how you're building, what you're doing, what's coming next. So lots of questions that I'll have for you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of maybe how you got involved with Cardano development.
Yeah. So I've been developing on Cardano ever since 2021. I think I was first an intern at a Cardano project named Snaprelia, where they were funded, I think, from Fund 9 through Fund 10. We had a few proposals. I went from being an intern there to a full-time software developer, and towards the end, I was the lead developer for a few of the projects. I can briefly go over what kind of projects we built. I think we built the first quadratic voting solution on Cardano. We open sourced it. It was built in Plutus, the good old days.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also built a bug bounty platform where anyone can, post bugs or things they want to get built essentially for the platform. And we built a smart contract for that, and also people were paying to have those tasks to be built in Cardano, Ada or CNTs. After that, built a Discord bot centered around SSI and just governance in general. So you can spin up voting rounds within your Discord channel, and you can whitelist token, only allowing people with that hold your project's token to vote. And it was integrated with SSI to just also issue verifiable credentials whenever people place a vote. And
so like, what got you into blockchain development originally? Like, what made you start looking at this particular industry?
I guess I shared a lot the same story as everyone else. We were just back home in COVID, just going on YouTube, and then one day just see this guy Charles Hoskinson just talking about blockchain, in front of a whiteboard, and then that's how. That's, to be honest, that's literally how I got into first ever heard about blockchain, and then I didn't know I was gonna work in the blockchain industry, but when the time came, in Snaprelia, we're debating about our next venture, and we were debating on what chain to build on. I just would call Charles Hoskinson. I was like, dude, we got to build on Cardano. And
that's cool.
That's how I first got into it.
Awesome. So eventually you landed at Strike, and tell us a little bit about Strike Finance, kind of what was planned and where we're at today. So I know I read through the light paper from back in the day, and it mentions 3 different kind of financial instruments. It had forwards, it had options, and then it mentions perpetuals and perpetual futures. So kind of take us through the evolution of how that has gone.
Yeah. I think we did our first Twitter post literally September of last year or August, and then we were marketing, we were building, we launched testnet, and the first product we released was our forwards. And to be honest, we didn't get really too much volume on that. We got around 50 to 100K ADA volume in 2-3 months of operation.
So quickly explain what a forward is for people that aren't DeFi.
Yeah. It's a contract where you enter with another party, so essentially a P2P contract, where you agree to buy or sell an asset at just price at a specific date in the future. So let's say you have 100 ADA, you wanted to sell it for 50 USDM, 2 months from now. Someone else will enter into this contract with you, and for 2 months from now, no matter what the price of ADA is at that time, you will have to sell 100 of it for 50 USDM to that other person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's essentially what a forwards is. After that, we around 3 to 4 months after that, that's when we release our perpetuals. After
Mm-hmm.
releasing our perpetuals, we realized, there was really no reason for us to continue supporting the forwards. People weren't really wanting to use it. It wasn't just it was just not a good product, and then
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to focus solely on our perpetuals. And you also mentioned options. Yeah, originally really wanted to release a suite of just DeFi instruments that people can use on Cardano. But just after seeing the attention we got and just the pure usage for our perpetuals, we just thought it wouldn't have made sense to us for us to diverge our focus and build another product. We should just keep
Right.
on the perpetuals, just
Now
keep on.
this is a really interesting story you're telling, because it's very common among startups to have several pivots
Yeah,
before they nail product market fit, and it sounds like you did that. And then once you found it, it's like, well, it doesn't make sense to run off and do this other thing in the plan. So I mean, that's really interesting, and I think it's important for developers to see that and remain flexible, um, in the, you know, due to market forces and whatnot, and user demand. So that's a really cool story. So tell us a little bit about, um, you know, V1 perpetual futures, and kind of where you came from and where you're at. Like, get into the gritty details. Like, what is the platform built on? What are the smart contracts built on? All of that stuff.
yeah. So our smart contract is built using Icon, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It has to. Um, do we use a battery model? Before that, I want to say I should probably just go over a high level overview of how our V1 works.
Mm-hmm.
In our V1, essentially, you have two different parties: the LPs that provide liquidity for the pool, and the traders. The LPs and traders, they're essentially just taking the opposite trade of each other. Um, if if the traders take a loss, all the profits or all the losses that the trader occurs, all those profits goes towards the LPs. And
Mm-hmm.
if the traders, gain a profit, or they successfully place a trade, and the market moves in their direction, the profits comes from the LPs pool. So essentially, the LPs lost money.
Right.
So
So it's kind of a balance
yeah,
between the
yeah.
people betting on a price to rise versus a price to fall, and then the LP holders kind of take the opposite side of the way it goes
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. And if you think of this as a gambling house, the LPs are basically the house. We have like 100% of the liquidated collaterals and losses goes towards the LPs, and we also have this thing hourly borrow fee, where
Mm-hmm.
a trader has to pay every hour in order for their position to be open. And
Mm-hmm.
this hourly borrow fee is what really tips the edge over to the LPs, making sure they do you know earn a profit over the long run.
Mm-hmm.
There will be days where weeks where LPs they suffer a loss, and we have actually seen it recently with everyone just taking a long position on strike while and it'll pump 50%. Thank God, finally. And then yeah, LPs just suffered a loss, but over the long run, just this month, LPs even with this meteoric rise of ADA, LP and everyone taking a long positions, LPs has earned roughly last time I checked, 450K ADA this month, but they're still down a bit from the last rise, but I do believe over the long run the LPs will come out on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I've used the platform myself. It's a ton of fun. Congratulations on having a really neat system built for it. Um, so you said you used Icon. Tell me a little bit more about the stack of the website and the front end, etc.
Yeah. Oh, so Next.js, Rochelle, in the front end, we do have a backend server running our batteries. So
Mm-hmm.
we do actually use the battery model,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, I want to just give 1 minute to talk about our battery here. Like our developer from Taiwan, New T, he's super active in the Blinks Labs Discord channel as well. He's a awesome Go developer. He basically built our off chain infrastructure, our batcher, and like it once handled like when we once handle like 100 transactions, hundreds of transactions in a few minutes, and that's just with using TX chaining, and
Hmm. Incredible.
yeah, and then like sometimes we're sometimes a little bit buggy this part, but if you close your position, sometimes not most of the time, but sometimes you will receive your ADA or your snag or your asset in your wallet immediately,
Hmm.
because we do monitor the meme pool, and once that's in, we'll just, send it out directly, but that's sometimes not, but
Hmm. And I
yeah.
assume you're also resubmitting any transactions when there's a blockchain rollback and other stuff like that.
Yes, of course, and we have ran into a few times where we submitted a transaction, a TX ID came back, and then we were updating it in the front end, but people were opening up Discord chat saying, "Hey, how come I never got my ADA?" or "Hey, how come my transaction never landed on chain?" We were having that trouble a lot in the beginning, but
Hmm.
I'm glad it has since been fixed, at least, because nobody has brought it up yet. But thank God it's kind of because it was really frustrating in the beginning. Hey, I got this TX ID. Why is it not on chain?
Yeah.
Or sometimes we get just where it's stuck in the meme pool for like days, and then I'm not sure what to do about that.
Yeah, we had back in the early days at Drip Drops when I well when I built their system, we did something similar. We transaction chained a lot, and so everybody that was wanting to get tokens out of one bucket, we would just chain the transactions one after another, and we would build up to megabytes worth of transactions that needed to go on chain, and it would take hours. And one little rollback of the
Yeah,
chain, and we'd lose our whole stack. And so you'd have to just reinflate the mempool. It was crazy. But those learnings, I'm glad they've, you know, those things, like, they're known now. They're
yeah.
known that off-chain infrastructure needs to handle those kinds of things. So that's really cool. Um, so you guys are based on the essentially betting on the price of ADA in
Mhm.
terms of dollars. What do you use for, like, any type of Oracle solution, or what? Where do you get your price feeds from?
So it's an internal solutions that we built
Hmm.
ourselves. We really wanted to partner with a third party Oracle solution, but just when we were launching the current solutions on Cardano couldn't really fit our use case. It was either just like too slow or too expensive. But
Hmm.
I can briefly talk about how we're building our Oracle, or how we're pulling the prices. It's
Sure.
from three major exchanges: Gate, Binance, and then Kraken. We just
Hmm.
aggregate prices from all those three, and of course got to add the good things about if one of those goes down and it returns to zero, it shouldn't mess up with the other ones. It's all those good things.
Cool. Yeah. So tell me a little bit. I know you guys are still working on new options for the Perpetuals platform. Tell us kind of where you're going in the future.
Yeah. Uh, the most exciting thing that it's we're building out our V2 right now. It's most of the designs are done. We've submitted like our first commit to main like a few days ago on our V2 branch. I'm sorry, on V2 repository. And then no, I also want to surface this because our V2 will take months to build. Like we hope we'll build it before 2026, if not probably
Hmm.
like early Q1 of 2026. Like we will still continuously make improvements to our V1. There's still a lot of things we want to build on in our V1. Um, like opening and closing a position in any asset you want,
Hmm.
things like that. And then yeah, for our V2, it's like our V1 architecture is basically the LPs versus the traders, and
Hmm.
we had to resort to this because the transactions on Cardano is a bit too slow for an order book model, and it'll be a bit too hard for having market makers to actually fulfill these orders. So that's why we had to come up with we had to use the LP versus the trader model. But for
Hmm.
our V2, we'll be moving a lot of the infrastructure off chain. Well, we will have the transaction finality on chain, but
Hmm.
the order matching engine, the liquidation engine, these things will mostly be off chain, and this is what will allow us to build a our V2 on order book model.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to share or talk about?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so for our V2, like for order book model, you will need market makers, of course. But what we will do is allow people to delegate funds to us, and we will
Mm-hmm.
market make on their behalf. And LPs from V1, sorry, we'll have the ability to pour over their LPs from V1 to V2, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
just simply market make on their behalf. Also, this model really, because right now the LPs there's risk to it. Like when everyone takes a long position and the prices goes up, like you do suffer a loss,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not risk free. But for our V2, like I'm really confident, unlike this is a black swan event, like it's basically just free yield. Like you're just fulfilling people's order and you're earning the spread. So
Mm-hmm.
there's really no risk for you in it. Of course, I shouldn't say anything in crypto is risk free,
Yes.
but yeah, you'll be relatively really less risky than providing LP in our V1. And granted, the yield that you'll generate will not be as much as you can possibly do in V1. So it's just different people have different risk appetite, but for our V2 it'll just be a lot more safer, but the yield will just be generally less. And with an order book model, we're no longer constrained by people's liquidity, because right now, if you want to open up a Bitcoin perpetual contract in our
Mm-hmm.
V1, people need to supply Bitcoin to our platform. And people, if you want to open up Solana, you need to provide Solana liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
With our V1, we won't need that. We just need USDM. People deposit
Mm-hmm.
USDM to us, and we'll simply just market make these orders and fulfill these orders and in the spread, and it can be any asset you want. And this is something we are like, okay, I brought up any asset you want. Like we can technically have pre-IPO companies, real assets, literally anything you can think that has a price tag on it. We will be able to do perpetual trading on it, and this is the direction that we want to go. Like perpetual trading on a predictions market, like it sounds crazy, but like you can 10x your shares on a predictions market on Strike, and this is something that we'll be able to do in Route V2. So I'm super excited about that. This
Very cool.
Yeah, just perpetualify anything. That's a new term that came out of Twitter recently. Just perpetualify anything, and yeah, I'm super
Yeah.
excited about V2.
No, I'm pleased to hear you kind of, a lot of times founders and devs will get stuck on their original vision and they won't pivot when a pivot makes sense.
Yeah,
And I want to congratulate you guys on, finding your product market fit and just really going all in on perpetuals, what's working, and give the give the people what they want. Um, so with that, I will get ready to sign off here. But I want to thank you again for coming on the show and for sharing a little bit about Strike, a little bit about where you guys are going. Um, Again, thanks for coming on.
thanks for having me.
And with that, nerd out.